Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Julian. Sorry, I almost said Julius. No, Julian. Thank you so much. Sorry again for everyone for the wait. I'm trying to get to these out as soon as possible. That's why I'm uploading like 3-4 a day. But thank you for your patience and for your kindness and generosity. I do appreciate it. For anyone interested in requesting any type of movie review, re-review, topic, tier list, ranking, video game playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for Ick, which some say 2024, some say 2025. I really don't know which year to put. So I pretty much... You know what? Let's do this. What does it say on IMDb? It says 2024. Wikipedia says 2024. Some say September 2024. Letterboxd is 2024. That's what I'm going with. So, oh well. But Ick, which I had not heard of before, but it is a... What it reminded me of is elements of The Faculty, Slither, and... trying to think what else. Kind of like The Faculty, Slither, and something else. I have to think about that. It was popped in my head. But when I looked up the cast and I looked up the people involved, it got me that bit of the bug of intrigue, because the guy who directed this is Joseph Kahn. If you don't know who that is, he directed Torque. Torque is not good, but it's so like insane that I find it rather entertaining. That's a film that is just much kind of like this, fueled by ADHD, which will annoy people, which will get on some people's nerves, which will think it's a bit too much, and they'll feel a bit exasperated by the end of it. But for me, I kind of enjoy someone trying to go for that just full energy, full tail booty pacing, that even I can be like, okay, it's a bit much, but I'm fine with someone trying for that more than just the very typical boring slog pace of a movie. But like Torque, if you think Fast and Furious is cartoonish, Torque takes it to a whole new level. There's a scene where it's like a guy puts in like a T, but the T looks like it's as big as a fucking laptop computer, with the way, like, the angle the guy shot it. It just... There's some insane shit in that movie. That if that was... If you thought that was a parody of those type of Fast and Furious films, it would actually kind of work on that fashion. So I'm like, okay, I want to see what this guy's going to do with this. And it still has... Maybe not as much, but it still has that energy to it. And the second thing is it stars Brandon Routh, the guy who was Superman in Superman Returns. And I always liked the guy. I mean, his career got a bit into the crapper, because Superman Returns was not... People expected this, and it went to this. People expected it was going to be a brand new age of Superman and what else could happen, and it didn't work out. And it wasn't Brandon Routh's fault, because I think he did a good job. I think he was supposed to play a Christopher Reeve type, because it was, I think, kind of in continuity with the other Superman films. I thought they hired well, and there's enough parts of Superman Returns I do overall like the film. There are flaws, trust me, there are flaws with Superman Returns, but overall I do like it. Despite the guy who directed it being apparently a piece of shit. But Brandon Routh I always liked, and it was cool he got to star in the film. And I would say he's one of the better parts. I thought he was likable, affable, I felt sorry for him. I thought he had that boyish charm, even though, I mean, he looks pretty good for his age. And I thought that was nice to see him get the star in the movie. Other people, Jeff Fahey's in the film, but not a whole lot. He plays Brandon Routh's dad, but so he's not in it. I mean, maybe less than 10 minutes. He appears kind of at the beginning, then at one point later on. Mena Suvari, she plays Brandon Routh's ex-girlfriend at school, and now older, she's with someone else. I forget her name, but I think she was in... God, I forgot the damn movie, or the show now. I'll look it up real quick, sorry. I'm bad with names. Malina Weissman. She was in the TV show A Series of Unfortunate Events. She played the character Violet. And I guess in the 2014 Ninja Turtle movie, she played the young April O'Neil. But I didn't post... She was in that Series of Unfortunate Events, which I did watch. And, you know, they did what they could with the script and stuff. So she plays a teenager who may or may not be Brandon Routh's daughter. That's kind of one of the big subplots of the film. So the setup of the movie is that Brandon Routh, you see him in high school as a quarterback. He's a star. And this is where you really get the high moving energy. Like this montage is going through different backdrops, and the camera's going in and out, and the way it's editing. It's hard to put into words, but it really keeps going and showcases how popular he is and all the things that could happen for him in the future, and you know, doing well with Mena Suvari, until one day, while he's playing football, this plant-like thing grabs his leg. He can't move. He gets sacked, and his leg breaks like a wishbone. His leg is screwed up forever. He loses his chances, football glory. And then his father passes away. And then he's pretty much stuck in this town that he's hoping to leave, and eventually becomes the high school science teacher. Now, what's interesting about the film is the town knows that this plant-like thing is around, and they nickname it Ick. But because it doesn't really do much of anything, it just grows from time to time, they kind of ignore it. And the movie's pretty much about ignoring the problem, and it's trying to be very satirical. So it'll make fun of people who virtue signal and other stuff, and it kind of makes fun of both sides. Which, hell, I had more fun seeing that in this movie than in Eddington by Ari Aster. Because it is making fun of both sides. It's very much trying to be comedic. And, yeah, like this one guy talking about cultural appropriation and stuff, but he'll say lines like, monogamy is a misogynistic term, or something like that, or trying to get his Peter wet, so to speak. He's like the dickhead boyfriend of, what was the girl's name? I already forgot it again. What's her character name? I'm bad with names. Malina Weissman as Grace. So I'll just call her by her character name, Grace. The teenager. Who again may or may not be Brandon Routh's daughter. And pretty much the movie goes forward with Brandon Routh is starting to see that at nighttime these things to be more aggro, these things to be more adamant and angry, but if you have UV lighting or the sun, they go in kind of like a stasis. He tries to warn people, they don't listen to him. At one point, these two cops, they seem to be infected with the ick, try to attack him, and he's able to get away. He gets to this house party where that girl Grace is at, and a lot of people get killed during the party, and the movie goes on from there. The military even come in, and apparently this is a thing that's happened throughout the country, and we'll give you what we can, but we need to go to this other town who's your rivals, because without saying it, they pretty much want to say they're more important than you guys. It's a film that's very much tongue-in-cheek. It's a film that I think is PG-13. I don't know if the director wanted it that way or if he was forced to make it that way. And a lot of times the plant life thing is in CGI. I think the school setting, sometimes people are kind of taken over by it. It trying to have a bit of a wit comedy. That's why it kind of reminds me of The Faculty. I would say The Faculty is definitely much more polished than this film. And yeah, the ADHD energy might be a bit overwhelming for people, but I thought it was kind of fun to watch. And I just thought it was kind of interesting that they know this it thing's around, but they continue to do nothing. And even when they're warned by the military, they're still adamant to try to go about their business like it's normal. Because that at times it does happen in society where we know there's an issue, we know there's a problem, but you're trying to just go on your day and oh, that's not a big deal, even though it is, and make light of the subject. And the I don't know how to describe it because it goes by so fast. It's kind of hard to catch everything. Sometimes even I'm like, can you calm down a bit? Like, can you just take a breather, stop and take a breather? I will say for a negative, that kind of hurts in its characterizations. Where, to be honest, the only person I cared about was Brandon Routh. I didn't really care for anybody else. The daughter character, at times, she just seemed a bit too teen bitchy. And at times, she's just treating Brandon Routh like crap. And I'm like, this guy is just so affable and charming and easy to feel sorry for that when she keeps treating him like crap, it's like, fuck you. Eventually, she warms up to him and other stuff, but it's just like, just comes off at times just a bit, that teen angsty bitchy style. There's this one couple where this girl likes this guy who likes to draw, and he draws his monkey, and he's like, what kind of monkey is that? Oh, it's a normal monkey. And they try to make them side characters, but the only thing you know is that they liked each other. That's it. So I was pretty indifferent on them. There's really nothing else to them. You don't really know about their anything else. And I don't even really say they really showcase a lot of unique Court's personalities or anything of the sort. So they're just kind of there. But I guess the director felt those characters were important enough that they stay throughout the rest of the movie. The creature is trying to do stuff like The Blob. That's probably the other film I was thinking of, The Blob. I said The Faculty and a bit of Slither. Because that's a B movie in a small town where people getting, fucked up one by one. And, they're both films that are trying to have that sense of humor. But The Blob, I guess, as well. And I have, like, these tentacles or tendrils. And stuff that seems a bit more violent. Like a cow gets infected and a copper goes through it and you see it explode. At the house party, people getting grabbed by this thing, they're pulled up and they explode. But maybe because the color's not red, they're able to get away with it rating-wise. So you get the illusion of violence with the people exploding, but you don't have that red visceral gore like it was the Blob remake. And the CG... I do wish they implemented more practical effects. I don't know why they couldn't. Did it bother me in this one? No. Maybe because just the design, the usage, Something about it didn't bother me as much as it would with others. Or maybe because the movie was going so fast that my eyes didn't fixate on it long enough for me to have a bone to pick with it. But it's definitely, not the best CG, and at times quite a bit overused. This does have a lot of good songs from the 2000s. God, I can't remember. I wish I could find a list of what all the songs were. But it has, let's see, full soundtrack. I'm not sure if I can find like what all the songs are featured on there. All American Rejects, Hoobastank, Blink 182, Secondhand Serenade, Yellow Card, and even Creed. There are 2 songs from Creed, One Last Breath, and then at the end of the film, there's Higher plays a little bit before the end credits. I wish it was playing during like a big action scene. I think that would have been cool. Like you have like a big. Just I was waiting for. I was waiting for like this big action scene where they really go to town against these creatures. And sadly, that wasn't the case. But I was like this big fight, and then Creed starts playing. I thought that's what was going to happen, but that wasn't the case. But it is what it is. And yeah, I guess you say this kind of like a new version of the Blob, where it kind of goes and it grabs and infects and it just makes people so. I could kind of appreciate that because I'd rather do something like this than just another remake of the Blob. And that's the thing. I don't want another remake of the Blob. Just do something like this where it's your own thing. You do your own style. And I know I'm fumbling through the review, but I had fun with it. I had fun with the movie. I thought that like I said, the pacing was so fast that I was never bored. Brandon Routh was likable. Again, it sometimes goes a bit too fast. Because, spoiler alert, there'll be a point where first we're at a bar and Jeff Fahey has come back because he was buried in the ground and the thing, the it brought him back and tries to tempt him. We could do a lot. We could even fix your leg. And pretty much Brandon Routh burns the place down and destroys it. Then it'll cut straight to, okay, now he's talking with Mena Suvari on a football field and asking, well, is she my daughter or not? And then Mena Suvari gets pulled into the ground and killed. They'll cut to this place over here. And I'm like, hold it. Like, don't we have, like, time to breathe, to contemplate, to think about what happened? As I would go from here to here to here. I'm like, hold it. So that's the thing. You don't really get a lot of depth or care about the other characters. So it's kind of hard for me to care about the teenage daughter, Grace, because there's not a lot of moments of reflection from her about what's going on. Or moments that people can really kind of breathe and take in what's happening. I mean, Brandon Routh, he's going to explain to her about what happened to her 2 parents. And then you don't really get much of her reacting to it because it's not cut to the next thing. And on the one hand, that's cool because that way the movie's never boring. But on the flip side, it goes so fast that you lose a bit of that. Sometimes those quiet moments can help to make you feel for the characters more. Case in point, Tremors. There's a scene when some action happens, they escape, but then it breathes, and you have Kevin Bacon taking care of Finn Carter's legs. Ow, I'm sorry. And he looks over, and you have Fred Ward going, with like a cigarette going, and Kevin Bacon being bashful and helping her with her legs, and then gets her pants back up because her legs were hit with barbed wire. And there's like a nice moment between Kevin Bacon and Finn Carter, because eventually they'll get together. Nice little humorous moment with Fred Ward. See, that's a nice, quiet character moment. Or when they're on the boulder and they're trying to think of where these things came from. No way, these are local boys. Again, I keep mentioning Tremors because Tremors is the movie to study when you do these kind of things. The Blob remake from 1988, which it might have been on TV in this movie, because it went by quick and I didn't catch it, so I don't know if it was the original or the remake of the Blob, or one of the, I can't remember. I know they're watching one of the Blob movies. It might have been the 1988 film. I can't remember though. I wish I had it in. Actually, let me see. No, it's not on. It's not there anymore. It's not on my computer anymore. One of the funny things that I did, talk about humor is there's a bit where Brandon Routh and the girl are trapped in this car, and she's like, "Do you really need to do this? Well, you may be my dad, or what?" And this conversation goes on, and he mentions the best band, and she's like, "Oh, the Beatles," and he's like, "No, Creed." And the Scott Stapp did all this great stuff, and then they broke up, and then she's like, "Who the fuck is Creed?" So I thought that was pretty funny. And then the next scene, the next song you hear is "One Last Breath" from Creed, because I like Creed. I quite like that band, so I thought that was funny. And I would kind of say like the humor and the energy and the usage of CG reminds me a bit of Eight-Legged Freaks. So maybe kind of like that movie, Eight-Legged Freaks, that tone, where I like the film. I wouldn't say it's a favorite of mine, but it has that tone, consistent tone, and that sense of fun to it. That I think if you like those kind of movies, this could be a film for you. Now it is a 5.3 on IMDb, so it's not everyone's cup of tea. Like I said, I do wish that some of the side characters had a bit more meat to latch on to, and make so I give a fuck more about other characters other than Brandon Routh. I think they missed the opportunity of Brandon Routh getting into a big action scene to save his daughter, and have Creed playing in the background, or father and daughter working together, and have Creed playing in the back. I think they missed the opportunity. I think that would have been a very fun, cheerworthy moment. But I don't want to give everything away. I don't. I would say if you want to see movies like a combination of Slither, The Faculty, and The Blob, if you like Brandon Routh as a lead, if you want to see a movie that's pretty short, 90 minutes long, if you like that kind of high energy pacing where there are times like the camera is like pushed into someone's mouth as this woman is streaming. There's a point where it kind of like freezes everything, kind of people frozen, and the camera's moving around people. That's one scene in the movie. Or the movie really is like the camera push in and pull out, go left, go right. I did try to be very kinetic in that. I guess some may feel it's distracting. They may feel it's overbearing or over compensating for maybe not the strongest script, and definitely not the strongest characters, other than Brandon Routh. I could see that, so I wouldn't put this as a favorite of mine, but I had fun with it. I thought it was a fun movie Again, some of the CGI definitely very apparent, but I did like it. I did like the film. So probably I would say look up the trailer and make your own mind. Yeah, I like the soundtrack. It definitely took me back to a lot of these songs I would hear during that time in my life, because that would have been around the time I was in high school. So there you go. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.